So, hello, namaste, namaskar, good morning, good afternoon, or maybe even good evening in whichever part of the world you are joining us from. My name is Deepak R. Khemani, and it is 12:30 in the afternoon in India. Every Sunday, 12:30 in the afternoon is time for the Sunday Bloom Talk Show. For the past 252 weeks, yes, you heard it right, 252 weeks, whether it be rain or shine, online or offline, we are here speaking to a change maker, speaking to a person, speaking to a celebrity, speaking to someone who is doing their bit in making the world a better place to be. They may be a doctor, a healthcare professional, a scientist, an athlete, a coach, a mentor. They are doing their little bit in helping change people's lives, change people's mindsets, change people the way they are, taking them from where they are, helping them to go where they want to be. In that series, today, on our 252nd Sunday Bloom Talk Show, we have a very special guest with us. Jayesh Patel. You've seen him on the Sunday Bloom Talk Show as part of the audience. He's been a part of the PSAI community with us as well. And he has, in fact, introduced a few speakers in the recent past from his community who have graced the Sunday Bloom Talk Show. Thank you for doing that, Jayesh, and welcome to the show.
Thank you, Deepak ji. It's been a pleasure to be with the Bloom Talk.
So, normally on a program like this, we would read out a PDF or a handout and then tell you that who the speaker is and what he does or what she does. Instead of doing that, let me give you a chance. Jayesh, tell us what you do. Tell us why do you do what you do? And
Okay.
in this process, on this special topic of ours, where we are discussing how to decode the secrets of knowledge-based entrepreneurship. What does that mean, and why do you want to help people in that part of their lives? Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Thank you, Deepak ji. So, seldomly I do get an opportunity to introduce myself, and you have given me that exactly. So, I'm Jayesh Patel. I'm an automotive professional now turned into an entrepreneur. My primary goal right now is to help international clients who are looking to do a business with India or looking to get the business from India, help them get in a very effective way. And the motto of our organization, which is JK Globis, is to make them get all those things in a very easy and a very cost effective way. And at the same time, get them a business for a very long period of time. And I'm very delighted that during this journey, I found my two new passions. One was authoring on a book which was related to the automotive industry and which is going to be out soon. And the second book, which I recently launched during one of my events in Thailand, was Win Globally, dedicated to people who are passionate and fond about me, like winning the clients globally. And the second passion, which is public speaking, it was a passion somewhere hidden in the heart, and PSI definitely allowed it to bloom. So here we are on the Bloom Talks, and I am definitely delighted to be a part of that.
Wonderful.
The second part of the question which you ask is why I do what I do. It
Yes.
stemmed from my personal journey where I had been into. I started off my career as an engineer and worked through the stages of working with multinational companies, right from Tata Motors to Mahindra, and then finally with Volkswagen. During this journey, the experience had been splendid in terms of getting a knowledge, but when it came to time freedom and the freedom of doing the way you want to do, that became a little restricted because corporates are not the way they used to be during my father's time. And over the period of time, time anxiety, time pressure, financial distress, all those things have seeped in, which do not allow you to do more than one job. So
Yes.
today I'm able and happy to put a three jobs into the place, that founding the company, running it, doing an authorship and a speaker. That's my why
Yeah.
about what I started off with it.
Wonderful.
And
Wonderful. So,
and
yeah,
the
please, please
topic
go ahead.
today, the
Yes. Yes.
topic today is a little bit dear to my heart. I It's that how do you set up an entrepreneurship in today's world? And people actually gave me a very rough idea when I was exploring this field. Somebody said go to manufacturing, that's where the world is moving.
Yes.
Some said go to services. And somewhere in the middle, I found a sweet spot, which is practiced by few who are really making it a success, but unknown to many. And
Yeah.
that's what we call the space of knowledge.
Yeah.
And knowledge based entrepreneurship is where I think the future of India, the future of the globe lies. And
Hmm.
we as people in this space must make it aware to the general masses who are somewhere getting dilemma in terms of whether we go for manufacturing,
Hmm.
whether we go for totally service based things.
Yeah.
But there is a third space where they can actually also play a very important role.
Hmm. So the word entrepreneur, Jayesh, is used very loosely. Somebody who is a self employed professional calls himself or themselves an entrepreneur. Somebody who's running a small business would call themselves an entrepreneur. Somebody who's a one man show also calls themselves an entrepreneur. So, how do you define entrepreneur? Does it, coexist in all these places? Or if you are a self employed professional, you say, I'm a self employed professional. If you are an SME, you say, I'm an SME. And if you are in business, you say, I'm in business. I'm not an entrepreneur. Is there a categorization there?
As per me, as per me, entrepreneurship is a concept.
Okay.
So businessman is something a title that I'm in the business of doing
Yes.
something.
Yeah.
SME is a tagline given by the government because
Yes.
this is the tax. But
Yeah.
personally speaking, entrepreneurship actually was started even by our forefathers. That even if you go for a very simplistic thing, a person who is even running, uh,
I'll just mute everyone. Yeah.
yes,
Hold on.
please.
Go ahead.
So entrepreneurship, in a very broad way, is an art of bringing the ability of various resources available on the planet, structuring into a way and utilizing it in the most efficient manner.
Yeah.
That's what an entrepreneur does. And I believe everybody, a
Yeah.
person who goes and does 9 to 5, a
Yes.
person who also doesn't do a business or
Hmm.
doesn't have his own self employment is
Yeah.
also an entrepreneur, so
Yeah.
long he is able to work with all the resources, bring
Yes.
it together, and
Yeah.
then put it in a way which actually creates something of a value. So, and I'm sure there is an entrepreneur in each and every one of us. I recognized it
Yes.
2 years back, and
Yes.
uh, if we all look into our lives, we'll feel we are an entrepreneur. The
Yes.
difference is that whom do we create the value for? If we
Hmm.
create a value for us and the world, I think
Yes.
that's the true sense of entrepreneurship. If the value is created for an organization
Yes.
and for the people, then probably I think entrepreneurship may have a very partial output to that.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So
So
Deepak,
you said that you help people, maybe somebody who's foreign or somebody who is abroad, look at opportunities in India. There is this mindset or there is this thought process that India is not a very easy or a simple or an efficient place to be doing business. There is bureaucracy, there are rules and laws and regulations and this and that. What I want you to do is first either squash this notion कि नहीं ऐसा नहीं है, ऐसा ही होता है या नहीं. If you come through the right process, if you have the right consultant, then they will do things better for you.
So my experience has been the same with other parts of the world. The only challenge is that probably in India we need to speak the way Indians understand over the period of time. And I would say that people think that okay, why Indians are not thinking as the way the Westerners are thinking.
Yeah.
The reason is that before 200 years we were all entrepreneurs. We were never
Yes.
into this 9 to 5,
Yes.
and you made somebody an entrepreneur into a 9 to 5. So you gave them all the qualities and then made them do a thinking pattern which was little Western. And now again, people are trying to rewind after independence. It is
Yes.
definitely going to be a lot of difficulty and questioning. And
Yes.
I heard some people used to ask me from abroad that Indians are very difficult to work with. I said, why don't you give them what they exactly want?
Hmm.
Right? If Indians have seen something which is very economically priced product,
Yeah.
it's your job to get it done. Either get it from India or make it in a way that Indians can't produce it. Why
Yeah.
do you want to sell something which is working in the West very easily to the things which are here. And same thing
Yes.
goes for us also. Like
Yes.
some of the manufacturers, when they come to me and say that, okay, I'm not able to sell this product there, I I tell to them, probably see if they have gone past the era of horse cart. If you try to sell them the horse cart, they're not going to buy.
Yes. Yes.
Why not give them something what they're advanced, what they're looking for? And if we are
Yes.
not in a position to do it,
Yeah.
let's build it.
Yes. Wonderful. Well said. That's a good way of explaining or opening up the thought processes and the minds of people saying, try and do this, and way of doing this is better. Abhijit, our co founder of Bloom, is also here. He's joined us on time. And let me bring him here. Abhijit, join in. And since Abhijit, has been in different places. He is a CA. He knows how books are written, how accounts are written, how money moves. He's been in the corporate structure. He was a CFO of a listed company. Abhijit, please share your thought process on what Jayesh is saying and any questions which will be relevant over here.
So, Jayesh, let's go directly to the topic on entrepreneurship in a knowledge-based economy. Now, everyone knows it's a knowledge-based economy where knowledge is now available at Deepak says at a prompt or a question. The point is entrepreneurship also is all about optimal allocation of resources to add value.
Yeah.
That also is known to everybody. Now, when everything is known to everybody and everybody will be doing the same thing, how will the fitter of the fittest or how would one still make it?
So that was the first question. I guess you asked the right question, because I asked my mentors 1.5 year back when I was on the journey that this is something which is going to catch up very soon. And how do you think it can be a long term thing? Because I'm going to be like again into the competitive world. And he replied with a very simplistic answer was that probably the beauty of this knowledge part world is every person gets to have his own tribe, because the beauty of the knowledge part world is that people usually get connected to another people. It's like, I can tell you an example. There are thousands of singers in a way, but you will find that every person has found his own particular way of a singer, which actually goes and works with it. Similarly, it's with businesses also, that if one set of a business aligns with your value and system, he's going to work with you no matter whether the results are going to be very highly optimal or not, because something is very much human in this way. The second part of this thing is when we talk about the exclusivity. The thing is, since it's an ever evolving thing, every person may not be actually going to work in a very direct direction. Like, it's not a very simplistic science of a knowledge that you produce a product and say that, okay, this is a pencil and the pencil's job is to write. The knowledge world is a very complex, that you are actually going to provide them with a pencil which is going to work with a particular ink, with a particular writing style, and it is going to make somebody comfortable depending on the size of the hand. So customization is what is going to drive this entire knowledge vast world. And I
So,
particularly have not seen that anybody who has been into this segment, if he tries a little harder and pushes his human limits of deeper thinking, he will be able to find his own micro niche into getting his own sweet spot into this world.
so perfect. I think what I got as a takeaway is everyone has to add value with values and find the right tribe who he can align with and maybe push himself a little bit more deeper to find a micro niche that would basically work. And while
Yes.
you say that knowledge is available to everybody, the depth and the level of knowledge which everyone has will be the same. So you customize or tailor make it and give your user an experience. I believe, am I getting that right? Is
Correct.
that the right way?
Yeah,
Or
you have
anything you want
summarized
to
it
add
very
to it?
nicely. No, you have summarized it very right way. And we can add one more thing onto that is that since every human likes to see the world in a very different way, so knowledge based industry is something like an addition. What were the defects, or what we can say the shortcomings of our industrial world, where we had a car and the user had to get accustomed to a car? Now the thing is, the world is moving into a way that I am a user can you make a car which is good for me? And I think that's the beauty of the knowledge world, that the knowledge world helps you to not change yourself, but make the product and the system work for you rather than you working for them.
Right, right. So, just I think in our 250th episode, I believe you were also there. The speaker was saying, I think his key was is you sell what your user needs. Don't make something which you know how to make and then try to sell it. So
Yeah.
he was all talking about customer centricity. So does that also is the ultimate goal of an entrepreneur, that just have the customer in mind and do everything with him in mind to
Yeah,
add value?
definitely. Definitely. He is the center point of that, because he's the one who's going to experience the value and pay the value. So definitely that's the beauty of the knowledge world, that you are actually making him at the center point of the things. But at the same time, you are only not only working, putting him at the center point, because that's what industrial age also did. But
Yeah.
now the thing is you start adding him a value into some of the problems which were left unsolved by the remaining part of the world. To put it very simply, is like, what's AI doing? AI is actually stepping up one step beyond the normal industrial world, where you actually had a search engine, you had a Google search engine, and he used to throw you a lot of options. But with AI, the point is it's giving you answers in a very elaborative way, answers in a very talkative way. So coming the time, I think if we were to make a very brief comparison, Google was something of an information and industrial age, and AI is something of a very knowledge age, that you're directly giving somebody a very concise answer to a particular question without him getting into a lot of nuances of, let's say, picking and choosing what's the best.
Fine. So, having been both in the service industry and in sort of manufacturing, or you could say an entrepreneurship industry, obviously both were entrepreneurs, but with different products and services. So while it was service, it was always as a professional. It's something like pride of service before personal gain.
Hmm.
And when it was an industry, it was all about ethical profitability. So ethics and, as you said, values always came first. Profitability later, though profitability is essential for survival. What, according to you, should, apart from customer centricity, be the prime focus of any customer, of any entrepreneur?
I think the best part should be that what he's better to do that. I think self mastery is something which is currently getting missed out. That people are working in the industry and the manufacturing, you need to have a host of products. But the beauty with the knowledge industry is self mastery, that you do a very deeper thinking into a one line of business where you are very expertise on that, and you bring that entire expertise to your thing. So apart from customer centricity, which is going to be like keeping the customer into focus, there is also your internal factors, that you work on yourself, go through some of the frameworks, your own processes, your knowledge, and bring self mastery into the way that nobody can actually do a particular job better than you, in a way which gives you a very sweet spot. At the same time, the client who is there, he comes to you only for your very specific expertise. Rather than selling him everything, you go for very specific needs of that. To put it in a way, if you happen to go to a Japan, there is a uh, till today a restaurant which is located in a metro subway station, and the gentleman only serves 20 people in one go. Even he has an opportunity to refuse to billionaires, to some of the people right from presidents, that if the space is full. And when somebody asked him that, what's the thing which drives you, he says, my self mastery drives me. I'm interested in only making the best food which is available to me, and I want to only cater to a very few people out there. And that's what is the next part, or the core thing which this knowledge based entrepreneurs have to bring it into the way, that the self mastery into what they do the best, they do it very appropriately, so that the customer who is there gets the best part of the service.
Point note, sir. So while self mastery would obviously be the target or the goal, what would basically mediocres do who just can't be a master? So how would they survive in this world, or would they just be weeded out?
I don't believe anybody is born mediocre. Like I can be very sure that uh, God has given a talent to many. Like I during my school days, I always believed that okay, there is somebody who is God gifted with a talent and this thing. But when I passed out from the school and when I went back to my childhood friends and said, "What do you do?" I found everybody had found his own piece of mastery. The difference was that some people adhere to what we call as social conditioning and make the world their own masterpiece.
Yeah.
So somebody is conditioned by a society to think like a doctor, and but he's not a good doctor with his own set of talent and his own aspiration. So I think self mastery has got to do with discovering your own inner self. If Sachin Tendulkar would have been taught some years back and said that go and please clear the 10th exam, that's your future lies, I think we wouldn't have the master blaster what we have. So I think self mastery has one good thing is discovering your own zone of genius. If you can discover that, work on that, I think self mastery is what everybody can do it. There is nothing called mediocrity. I think mediocrity is a word given by some so that somebody who doesn't conform to the
Good.
society.
Well said, well said. So while Harish ji is there, he may call it abundance, you may call it mastery, Deepak may call it compounding, anyone will call it anything, but it would mean the same. So I take your point. I think the last question before I hand it over to Deepak, and we have an esteemed audience. I think we'll love to hear views of everyone.
Yes.
Uh, the point is when you said you find your own sweet spot or your streak of genius, how easy or difficult it is to find that?
It depends on what type of problems you are planning to solve. So what most of them initially try is what's going on in the world, let's go with that. So this is where your sweet spot is going to get missed out. Like I can remember talking to one of my dentist client, and she said that who is going to be my customer, and I was very laughingly I said everybody who has a teeth. Then I said that but everybody has a teeth and everybody's around me, but I still don't get a customer. And I said, your sweet spot doesn't lie into that everybody who has a teeth. You will have to understand what part of the problems world is unable to cater it, because
Yeah.
that's what your job as a thinking person has to be. Because
Yeah.
if everybody is going to work on just clearing out the teeth, there is going to be a left part of the problem which is
Yeah.
unsolved. Why
Yeah.
don't go for the one of the most biggest and the difficult problems? And I said, what's the difficult problem in your industry? And she said, it's about putting the aligners because it's a very difficult job. Well, why not go for that? And I think that's where the micro niche or the sweet spot lies. Going for something which is unsolved, difficult, yet not solved, but people still feel the pain of doing that.
So finally, I take it is if you are good, it's impossible to fail, and then you need to be really great so that no one can ignore you. So I think self mastery, micro niche, solving a pressing problem, customer centricity, I think is all my takeaway. Well said, Jayesh. Deepak,
Thank you.
yeah.
I'm reminded just now of the example which Jayesh gave. Uh, a new footwear company was wanting to launch in a country in Africa, and most of the people in Africa, in that particular country, were all tribals. So this country sent out a person to go and research the market and find out that what are the prospects of this company when they start producing footwear. So they sent over a person and then he researched that market and then he came back and he said, there is no future in this country. Nobody wears anything. यहाँ पर कोई कुछ पहनता ही नहीं है. Everybody moves around in the jungle barefoot. यहाँ पर there is no footwear, opportunity at all. The company said, no, no, no. Let's appoint another consultant and let's let them do the market research. And that consultant came out with a research saying that we have to establish a footwear company in this country because यहाँ कुछ कोई जूता पहनता ही नहीं है. The opportunity is so large that we can sell a shoe of a slipper to everybody who lives in this country.
And we are having the monopoly because everybody
Yeah,
is not thinking.
exactly. So same country, same situation, same product, but two totally different opposite views. And I don't know what the company did after that, but this is a great example showing you, a product a pain point, whether you are able to tackle that pain point. Do you have that light bulb moment which goes off when you said, yes, chalo ye karke dekhte hain? And that idea of Jayesh, which he shared, of that restaurant in Japan, where he doesn't take more than 20 people. Just 1.5 year ago, a joint called Bene Dosa has launched, just very, very close to where I am, and it's a specialty from Bangalore. And in the last 1.5 year, it's such a small place that, if 6 or 8 people enter, the place gets jammed. It's a small place. You have to stand and eat. And you go there at 7 o'clock in the morning, or 1 o'clock in the afternoon, or 8:30 in the evening. There are at least 20, 30 people waiting outside in queue. If it is raining, they are carrying an umbrella. Why? Because they want to eat that particular dosa only in that particular restaurant. That is how a niche was established. That is how they stood apart from everybody else, and the business is doing extremely well. So, before I go ahead and ask other questions, the fact that we have an interactive audience, and Brigadier Sir and everybody else has also been sharing their thoughts in the chat, let me now open up and ask the audience if anybody has a question, wants to, share a point, agree, disagree. Just unmute yourself and go ahead.
May I?
Yes, please.
Okay, so I'm getting my word in first,
Yes,
because
Eric.
I want it when it is fresh in mind. That so many points have been made.
Please
So,
share.
starting with, the thing that he first talked about, what exactly will be a niche? What do these people want? And are you going to adapt to that product, or is the product, like he gave the example of cars, to be adapted? And I think I must be the first one in this audience who has seen where the cars adapted to the person.
Wow.
And I actually have a video which my wife took of me being a person sitting with her in a driverless car in Los Angeles, driving through the busy streets of huge Olympic Boulevard, and the very long and complicated traffic systems there, with signals and right turns and left turns. And I'm just sitting and I'm watching the wheel turn and go to the right and stop at the signal, which I could have missed, but it doesn't miss. There are sensors rotating at huge speed all up and down and around the car. So this is where I wanted to share this exact example of what Jayesh was talking, that we move from where we are constantly adapting to what has to be out there, whether it's a car or anything. And now the AI and other things and technology is making that product adapt to us. And that is what we are offering. This thing is called Waymo. The car is called Waymo. So you can call up like you call a Uber, and the Waymo comes and you just open the door, sit down. It already knows, it's been programmed. The moment you sit down, it starts, and it's a beautiful Jaguar car, very posh and very, with all the amenities. You can listen to music, and it's just reaching you from point A to B without a driver. Can you imagine? Because that is going to be the future. When I first went, I saw one or two. Now, every time I turn around, I'm seeing a Waymo car, and there's nobody in the front seat. So isn't that amazing? So I just wanted to share that with you as a very clear example of what Jayesh has been talking, where you adapt to what it is.
Yes. Wonderful.
And he's in the automotive field, so he must have definitely heard of it already and must be aware. But it is not in India. It will soon come, and it will be everywhere. Not so much in India, I think, because we all keep breaking traffic rules, unlike in the US.
But that's an opportunity. That's an opportunity.
But the first time I broke,
if one can make in India, then the point is the market is for him. Right.
If he can, with people breaking there, everyone follows. I broke a rule once, the first time I did, and I hope the last time, but I never drove for about almost 6 months after that, because the fine there done was $600. Just for breaking a light. And they gave, and there again, where they have adapted the system, the police department, to catch you whether they are there or not. The cameras got me with my face. In that same sheet of paper, it had my face, it had the whole intersection, it was giving in inches how many feet you were away from where you should have been and where you were not. Incredible. It had the close-up of my driver's license. There was no way I can argue anything except go and pay the fine. And the fine included spending 1 day in a traffic school, because they say you don't know how to drive if you're breaking. So it works both ways, for that adapting to you. and the system also catching you if you don't adapt and do the right thing in driving. So that's one thing I wanted to share. I also wanted to share this wonderful thing which Deepak very gave, that it's about the point of view. Are you going to see barefoot people needing shoes, or are you going to see barefoot people, meaning there's no inclination to buy shoes? So the point of view is what will determine, and it also reflects on what Abhijit also mentioned, that should we go into profitability as the thing that we must to focus, because he said that is necessary for us to be in long run. But my point is also, if you think of profitability as the factor, maybe you will have a high profit, but you're not giving the right service. You're making a quick buck in the short run. And there's no point of profitability that is not there for the long run. So industry and entrepreneurship should always be within view of the long run. And most startup peoples, as anyone who is studying, and I have been in consulting, like Jayesh is also now into it, I've been and dealt with also small to the largest, with billionaires. At least 3-4 billionaires have been my clients as consultancy. So I understand that when they start, it is the first 1 year, 2 years, or 3 years that is the most critical, where they fall, and they fall big, and they cannot, because they have not be able to understand how to go beyond that first stage, which is important. So that's the two things I want to share, that when you do mastery, what are you mastering? If Jayesh says, you have to, like he gave the example of the dentist. I'm very particular in what each of you have said, that I give the examples that you have, whether it is, Deepak or Abhijit, and in your case, which you talked about the teeth, the alignment and all of that, So she has to determine where exactly is she going to focus. And in that, can she get that amount of mastery? Whether it is, it could have been, for instance, alignment, maybe the need of the hour would have been pyorrhea. Now people have gone into cosmetics, so alignment of the false teeth and all that is important. Earlier, there weren't that level of false teeth usage. There used to be gum problem. Maybe instead of fixing teeth, it could have been fixing the gums that hold the teeth. So that is a very critical thing, to know what exactly are you going to master. You cannot say, you should master in one. How to arrive at which one is very critical, I found, dealing with the entrepreneurs. In which area are you going to focus? And for that, I would say, that is why they call people like Jayesh, because you don't know what you don't know. So if you're humble about that, and you say, I don't know which one to master, then you get the mentors on an ongoing basis, not just abhi usko pucha, usko pura dimag choose liya, but bas abhi fek do usko aage ka nahi hai. Because that's not the purpose of a consultant. I hope that Jayesh can also get such clients who will be more long-term viewers, to find out what. And in fact, I would invite them to even take more than one consultant. Because even this consultant, Eric Martin or Jayesh Patel, doesn't know what he doesn't know. So even my consultant may have any, some blind spots. So it would be a very good thing to take other people's opinion. This is all I wanted to share for now. Thank you.
Thank you, Eric, for sharing
Mr.
your
Martin,
thoughts. Yes, Jayesh,
I wanted
please.
to add one thing.
Yes, please.
Since you talked about this topic of dentistry, so I asked her, because she had been my client of, it was almost like 6 to 8 months, and I asked them, what do you do right now? She said that probably after you gave me a thought about micro niche, I found that there are people who also do this type of aligners and the business. So I said, what's your micro niche? And she said, I'm going to solve the problem which actually prevents them from coming to me, which is like creating a preventive mechanism by which they don't have to come to me. And probably I think I said, it's totally opposite of your business. She said, how it is opposite of my business? I was earlier selling a service. Now I'm selling a different type of service. I'm selling a service to keep the people away from a dentist. So there is endless possibilities of a thing.
Wonderful. Thank you for sharing that. And that point of Eric, where he spoke about the driverless car, I remember exactly to this date, sometime in 2018, we were in a program with a business coach in Mumbai. And, he was sharing his thought that if you are a driver in India, your days are numbered, because driverless cars are coming. And in those days, 2018, arey, kya bakwas kar raha hai? What is he talking? I mean, India, driverless cars, it's not yet a reality. Star Wars hai, Star Trek hai. But, in less than 4 or 5 years, it has actually become a reality. And Eric shared his experience of, getting into a car with a driver. Having said that, how far away it is, to come to India, I'm sure it is coming. But again, our traffic realities and rules, and with cattle on the road and people crossing the roads. Let's see how that works.
I,
Jayesh,
I would
what are
I
your
would
thoughts? Because
I
you are
would I would
from.
add something there, Deepak.
Yes,
It
yes,
is not just what the traffic patterns are.
yeah,
There has to be that amount of computer
yes,
processing
yes,
within the car, which
yes,
this guy Elon Musk has focused on primarily, to
yes,
have that amount. Which the more and more competent the chips are, they're able
yeah,
to process much faster and huge amounts of data, because
yes,
huge amounts are being data every second is
yes,
being fed into that car. It's being
yes,
captured to sensors which are rotating in 7 places around the car.
yeah,
It is not only that, it is the second requirement will be a very, very evolved GPS system, which we still don't have in all different parts of there. Every city, every country, every street has
yeah,
regularly being updated in terms of where the signals are and all sorts of
yes,
things. And
yes,
thirdly, people follow the rules there. I think that people break the rules there also, but the
yes.
amount of rules and people coming from the dehat villages thinking they are in their bagicha, in their bloody farms in the village, and just crossing, not even knowing what is a red light and green light. I
Yeah.
think that poor, it's called a Waymo, that poor Waymo car would be sitting in the middle of that bloody intersection, not knowing which way to turn. So they will be the biggest traffic block will be the driverless cars, because they will be so confused कि क्या हो रहा है इधर. So it
but
requires all that
दीपक
together.
दीपक
हाँ,
अगर एलॉन मस्क इंडिया आता था और
हाँ,
इंडिया से शुरुआत करती थी तो कुछ करता ही नहीं था, वो पागल होता था.
उसी वक्त भाग गया होता था, बोलता था नो नो आई डोंट वांट टू बी इन दिस बिजनेस ओनली, मुझे ये चालू ही नहीं करना है.
But I
Well,
come from a
so
different
so
perspective.
that's why he has gone into space. Where are no
Yes.
signals in
There
space.
is no traffic. There are no
No
traffic
traffic,
jams in space.
no signal lights in space. So just go.
But you will be mesmerized that
Yeah.
once a few years back, there was one of my friend, and I said that, "Okay, what's the photo of the front page of NASA?" Like, because in US, every organization likes to have a photo to commemorate. So, like, if you go to the War Department, they have the photo of Iwo Jima, where they actually raise the American flag on the island of Iwo Jima. So in NASA, they have actually put a photo of Tipu Sultan, that the person who actually made the first rocket, and that rocket was fired on the British. And they have
Hmm.
put that thing that this is where the space started, the space age started. So started
Hmm.
in a country like India, which was totally chaotic.
Yeah.
Answering to Deepak's question, like he talked about that, what's going to be the future? I can give you a very simple example. When I started my automotive career, and that time the European manufacturers was just starting out, and I used to hear some of their interviews, and
Yeah.
it was from one of the biggest manufacturers like Volkswagen, and they used to say that, okay, India has bad roads, and that's why we cannot bring new products into India.
Yeah.
And today the point is, most of the shock absorbers or the suspension systems are made by the Europeans, conditioned to the Indian market. And in
Yeah.
fact, people have been very happy to acknowledge that had there not be a typical or a very difficult developing market like India, probably the suspension system of a rover would not have been developed very easily, because Mars doesn't have a road, Mars doesn't have the good area. So everything which is available, it's problem to some, but it is solution to many.
Yeah.
And I'm sure, like, if somebody fixates an eye on 1.4 billion people or
Yeah.
1.5 billion people and thinks that if I am able to crack it, it's worth solving the problem. And if I can sell the system, every manufacturer is going to buy my product. I think it's a problem worth solving.
Yeah.
And it's only a matter of time that Elon Musk, if it gets saturated with US markets, or he finds that, okay, now there is no space to grow, he will start growing here. That, okay, let me solve this problem.
Yeah. I see Brigadier Vasim is on, and his camera is on. He's also unmuted. I'll bring you in, Brigadier sir, but this thought immediately came to my mind, and I thought I'll ask Jayesh this question first, and specifically because he's from the automotive field. For some reason, these European manufacturers, even though they have got high class, high quality products, both these French and German manufacturers in India haven't been able to, crack the market perfectly, including the US guys. General Motors comes and then runs away, then Ford comes and then they run away. But these Japanese Toyotas and, the South Korean Hyundais and, Kias of the world, and now with MG coming from China and Windsor and all that, for some reason they've captured the market. So what are these, I mean, European guys not understanding? Are they consulting the wrong consultants, or their thought processes are different?
So, my experience with a European manufacturer, I can share you, which I have worked for 10 years. It's like they were good in the product. The product was absolutely fantastic. And I can tell you that I have been driving the car, which I purchased around 9 years back. It's still running fantastic. And I can tell you the cost per kilometer, even after paying the very premium service, it's much lesser than what an Indian is. But unfortunately, the part is that you cannot sell a comb to a bald person.
Yeah,
So it's nothing personal about anybody, but I'm just trying to make a point here that if there is a requirement or a different persona about a particular product,
yeah,
the manufacturer needs to go with it. And with European manufacturer, there is a tribe in India which is currently confused whether I should go for something which is a good quality car and something which is like a produced car.
hmm,
They have not been able to put that persona out and say that, see, we are for you. You
yeah,
don't have to go anywhere. And
yeah,
that market is substantially big. It's not 1% or 3%. It is much bigger than that.
yeah,
The point is, if you're going to show a wrong imagery, a wrong persona,
yeah,
and going to attract it, that is where the problem lies. Like,
yeah,
I am not naming any company in particular, but most of the ads which are there, they show somebody who is in a teenage and
yeah,
driving a car which is almost in the range of 30 to 40 lakhs.
yes,
It's a total bouncer
yeah,
for somebody to do. I think
yeah,
if that thing gets corrected,
yeah,
if the message gets corrected that, okay, we are going to represent the right audience, and this is the right audience who has the flavor, and I'm
yeah,
sure they won't be the same people who will be struggling it. It's not
yeah.
about consultant, it's about the way you see the actual reality.
Yeah. Both MG and Kia, the way they've cracked the market in the last 4 or 5 years, from not being present at all to almost every second, third vehicle on the road being one of these two names, is really, really amazing. Amazing. We need to learn from these
I would like
Eastern.
to add,
Yes.
Deepak, because
Yes,
I've
yes.
been a Kia user for 15 years in the US.
Yeah.
When they had just entered the US market, they
Yeah.
were an unknown company. Nobody
Yes.
trusted them.
Yeah.
But the way they endeared trust was
Yeah.
they gave an unlimited guarantee.
Yeah.
Unlimited. It was not
Yeah.
first 50,000 miles or 100,000 miles. They
Yeah.
made it practically like, anything goes wrong, we are there.
Yeah. Yeah.
So nobody else dared to give that kind of a guarantee. That
Yes.
is one.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
to address what you had brought up, Deepak, was
Yeah.
why did the Japanese guys do, and all these General Motors, Renault, all these people put their tails and disappeared or struggling?
Yeah.
And it is because, again, I was associated with Honda, the Honda company. I was bringing out their ads and their ad films.
Yeah.
I'm talking about the mid 80s when Hero tied up with Honda and brought out
Yes.
Hero Honda. And I would say that interacting with the Japanese and all, their ability to absorb the data and build on that and keep,
Yeah.
that Kaizen quality that they have,
Yes.
small improvements all the time.
Yeah.
These guys, let's say General Motors or Renault, just say, oh, big market,
Yeah.
and it is a proven market. And these guys have gone this, but they don't have this particular SUV that we have, and they are
Yeah.
trying to slot into a particular thing.
Yes.
Whereas the Japanese thing made an attempt to understand the whole Indian thinking on transport in general, whether motorcycles or cars or everything.
Yeah.
In other words, what are traffic, what are the roads like, what happens in the monsoons,
Yeah.
all they got from the motorcycle business,
Mm.
and then they were able to apply it to the car business very easily, which the others didn't have any clue about because they had
Correct.
not that kind of experience. I
Correct.
just want
Correct.
to add that bit
Yeah, yeah.
as
I
a
mean,
way of
everybody
looking.
knows what CD100, from Hero Honda did to the market. They just put one product which wasn't available in that whole range, just in between a cycle to that Yezdi. There was nothing else in between which could promise you that it will start in one kick. For a
Not
Yezdi,
only
you
that,
needed to kick
Deepak,
it 20 times.
not
Yeah.
only that, I
Yeah.
was there at the time when that very wonderful slogan came out: "Fill it, forget it."
Yeah. Fill it, shut
You
it,
know,
forget it.
with the CD. In other words, the
Yes.
efficiency of the machine was such that
Yes.
so you were saving money when you
Yes.
said fill it and forget it, and you're
Wonderful,
having peace of
wonderful
mind.
communication. Wonderful. I see Brigadier Bhasin is there. Brigadier sir, do join in the conversation and share your thoughts.
Thank you very
Before that, a huge congratulations to Brigadier sir on the awards he's been winning, nationally and internationally also. So thank you. So, congratulations, Brigadier sir, for that.
Thank you very much. All good blessings of good friends like you. Now, Jayesh, I'm very happy the way you started, and whatever has been said by Eric, by Deepak, by Abhijit has put together a very beautiful picture. But I'm going to be talking about one word that came up was mediocrity. And I heard Jay saying that mediocrity doesn't exist. It is only others who give you that. Now, let me go into a little bit of self mastery. And to my mind, this is some ongoing journey where you keep discovering yourself every day. And in that journey, when you are flexible like water, that you can fit into anything, you find an opportunity, you create a product and sell it, whether it was in your niche or not. So today I feel that most importantly, are you able to understand yourself, and are you able to understand your strengths and your challenges? And if you can do that, and the way I think that today the greatest challenge, particularly for the youngsters today, is to cope up with the speed of change. It is happening so fast. If you don't adapt to it immediately, you will be left behind. So therefore, mediocrity does come in. And mediocrity comes in whether I, in my self-mastery, in the process of discovering myself, put a block to myself and say, oh, I'm only this good. I start thinking I'm a mediocre. Nobody told me that. But it is my own perception that I'm a mediocre.
Yeah.
So in my coachings and all, I tell people, the day you think that you are a mediocre, your downfall has just begun.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is something. And what happened between 11th of June and today has really carved out something like this for me. And before I tell you what happened in these 3-4 days, one very important thing is I have never been able to understand why you must have a niche and why you must have a micro niche. I have not understood. When I started my camp, one of my friends asked me, how do I go and tell what you do? Do I say you are a resort owner? Do I say you are a corporate trainer?
Yeah.
Do I say that you are a children's trainer? Because I started that camp for children primarily. So he says, there has to be a brand, and the brand has to be one product.
Yeah.
I didn't know much about, what I know now about branding and all. Kuch nahi pata tha. But the question that came to my mind and I asked him was, what is Godrej?
Yeah.
One brand. But unka furniture bhi hai, unka locks bhi hai. I got to know locks, the first thing. Then you said, mere ghar mein Godrej ke almirah hai.
Yes.
So from locks to this to hair dye.
Sabun bhi hai, hair oil bhi hai.
And when I did a training of
They're into aerospace also.
yeah. And then when I did a training of a branch of theirs, which was dealing with what are they called? Just forgetting that name. Reactors. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know how many of you know what a reactor is.
Yes.
I didn't know. And then I went to Vikhroli. I went to that plant to see what a reactor was. And I couldn't have done that training without knowing what goes into making a reactor. And I mean, even till today, when I tell people that I went to Godrej to do training of a department dealing with reactors, people still ask me, what is a reactor? So the point is that, so I said, in this way, my camp is everything. Then I also gave him an example. I said, you're looking for a shop, but I have a mall. I have many shops in that.
Yeah.
What's wrong if I say that I am a mall? I have many shops. I sell this and I sell this and I sell this. Or even going further, let's say I have a footwear shop. In that footwear shop, I say I have shoes, sports shoes, I have leather shoes, I have chappals, I have women's wear, I have children's wear. कहाँ कहाँ जाओगे यार? Why do you restrict yourself?
Yeah.
Then I started with, with the whole lot of the whole world from Success Gyan to PSCI to everyone started bombarding me with that requirement that you must have a niche. So I took a coach. Some of you may know him, met him in the first PSAI convention. His name is James Taylor, UK based guy. I took his coaching for 2 years and he told me you must get into a niche. So I asked him same question, but somewhere he was insisting कि नहीं niche होना पड़ेगा. So I said, okay, time management. So he said, no, 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 we'll discover it. I said, no. If you discover my niche now, you'll say something, and then you will ask me to write a book on that. I'm doing reverse engineering. I've written a book on time management. Let me
Yeah.
say, time management won't sell. I did so many webinars during COVID which were free, but when it came to money, people didn't think it was worth spending money on acquiring time management techniques. One day, and this is very important, a lady who had done my camp in 2012, she saw me on LinkedIn and she came to me and she said, "Sir, can I talk to you?" And we got on a call. She said, "Sir, I have seen you doing wonders in 2012 because of your vast experience in leadership, team building, and all that. And today you have started saying, I'm a time management expert. Why are you depriving your students from all that you know and just giving them that one small little bit?" So I came back. I said, no, no, no. I am leadership coach, right? And today, what I was telling you is the award that I got, I was expecting a leadership award, but the award I got was mentor of the year. There were many people who got leadership awards, but there was only one mentor of the year, mentor award. I am a mentor, but I didn't know that I was, I just sent my biodata and they say that out of 400 people, they selected about 40, 50, whatever. Now, so the mentor word started coming in. About a year back, I joined a company called Mentor My Board. I mean, that's also an association where there are mentors and there are students. So I was a member of the Mentor My Board, but I didn't know how to really mentor board people. And I really didn't know how a board governance is and what is the role that a board member plays. I didn't know what an independent director is. I didn't know all that, right? The word mentor, my board, the word mentor award, these dots started connecting. And if you read my last 2, 3 days posts together, you will get to know what I'm saying. That last night, it was such a discovery for me. Sorry, on Friday night. That now I'm stepping into another area which was never in my niche, but I am going to do it because I've discovered that I'm a good fit for that. So my point was mediocrity and all that we talk about, whatever we have been speaking, a vast variety of subjects we have covered today, I find that to succeed in life, to be aware of your strengths, to work out possibilities of where all can you stretch, and to not accept yourself as a mediocre is the first step to start succeeding.
Yeah.
Because if you take it on yourself and say, I'm a mediocre, तो फिर आगे कुछ नहीं होगा.
Correct.
So forget about what others say, but that is what I felt.
Yeah.
And to sum it up, I'll just say one last line. In my Tony Robbins program, I remember that one sentence he said. He said, people who succeed are the ones who accept a responsibility and then see how to make it happen.
Yeah.
Okay. And I know how many of you know Namrata Thakkar and Zenobia. They were both with me. We were three of us attending that program together in Sydney. And when we came back, Namrata got a call from somebody that will you do corporate training. She had no clue. She had never done corporate training. She had never done team building for corporates at all? And she said yes. And then she called me up and said, I remember Tony Robbins said, पहले हाँ कर लो, फिर ढूंढो कैसे करना है. So सर एक महीना है, मेरे को आप टीम बिल्डिंग सिखा दोगे? And then rest of it is story. But yes, she became a team building trainer. So I am of that belief now that on one hand, we say that if I'm not an expert, I shall not do it. I've started doing that. I mean, if somebody wants to do something on financial, I've referred Deepak's name 2, 3 times. I will not say that I'll do it. But at the same time, I will not walk away from an opportunity where if I have one month, I'll go and research and find out and do it.
Yeah.
Then, so that is my little take out of the entire conversation that happened.
Thank you, Brigadier sir, for sharing that. Thank you so much.
And the
Hindi
word is
में yeah,
zone
yes,
of
Jayesh,
genius.
please.
And the word is zone of genius, what you talked about. So in your case, your zone of genius is you are a good learner,
Yeah,
right? It's not particularly for a niche. So, and you pointed out the very good thing that right now the youngsters are actually feeling that there is a problem, that high capacity of change or the high frequency of change is what them bogging them down.
yes, yeah,
But what I believe is, I think the similar situation was during my times also. So every generation actually had a similar type of situation. The
yes,
difference, the only thing was that few people who did not conform to society, because I think right now, so like I remember somebody walking up to me and said that why don't you pick up electronic engineering? It's the most happening thing on the world right now. And I said I don't understand electrons. So if I don't understand electrons, how do you think I'm going to spend 4 years of my life doing that? And he
yeah,
says, what do you understand? I said, I understand machines. I
yeah,
said, so that's why I became a mechanical engineer. And I remember during my placement days, when somebody asked me that, why did you join these things? And I said that I understand machines. I
yeah,
understand something physical. I never understood electric. And after that, when he just met me outside the interview room, he said, people give us very different type of explanation, but I think yours was one of the authentic and the honest ones, that you accepted what you liked, what you wanted to do with it, and you
yeah,
were clear with that. And
yeah,
I think that's the bottom line, that if people of any age, be it youngsters or this thing, if they make up the mind that, okay, this is one thing I'm good at, that I think the world has enough opportunities for them to carve out the space.
yeah,
So there is something like zone of genius, and there is something like understanding that what I'm good at, and
yeah,
then accepting it, and then letting that entire thing weave around it. Then
yes,
there
Absolutely.
is no problem.
yes,
Absolutely. And you know, like what Deepak was talking about, this um, the guy who went to discover a footwear market in Africa. And by the way, Deepak, you said I don't know what happened. Yes, they established a factory there. They they taught people the advantages of wearing shoes.
yes,
They really succeeded very well. Okay,
yeah,
so coming to that, the moment you, I think another word that I would like to sort of make a key word is opportunities. So today, when you explore opportunities and you don't grab opportunities, but you create opportunities.
yeah,
So once you said this very good, I'm going to go a little deeper into this zone of genius, which is a good term that you've given me. Now, if you have that and you look at what opportunities you can jump up, and we'll have a one-to-one chat on this just later, where I'll tell you what I talked about the speed of change. No, it was not there when you were a kid.
yeah,
There is a distinct difference between the speed of change.
yeah,
Okay, and the speed of change has become much more, it is very difficult to handle it now.
yeah,
Okay, so that will remain a challenge. And so, yes, very good. I think so. And we have understood this. While everything has got a place, it is good to have a niche, but don't get stuck to it.
yeah,
If there's an opportunity out of your niche and you think you can do it,
yeah,
don't get stuck that किसी ने सिखाया था कि niche के बाहर नहीं जाना है.
uh,
So look at whatever is, there's a balance of all this.
yes,
Because we are not machines, we
yes,
don't have a circuit. You
yeah,
know, we didn't come with a manual,
yeah,
manufacturer didn't
yeah,
issue a manual. Everyone behaves differently.
yes,
First, understand yourself. I'll continue to say that
yeah.
self mastery before anything else.
Wonderful, wonderful. Brigadier Basing, I see Harish Mehta sir is also there on camera. He talks on resetting the mindset and abundance, and a lot what he talks about is relevant to today's conversation. So 2 minutes to you, sir. Harish Mehta sir.
Jayesh, you spoke about mastery, right?
Yes.
Why did you choose mastery? It took you 20 years to think about mastery.
No, mastery. I chose mastery because of one simple reason, that what I understood in my 15 years of journey was I was a jack of all trade and master of none. And that brought me the place where I am. And
So, my
I,
question here is,
yeah,
you found your why after 15 years.
yeah,
So,
I
when you
found my
know
why.
what you want, you get what you want.
Hmm.
So, now the question to you is, do you know what you want now? And who are you going to feed that what you have with you? And how soon you'll get there where you want to be?
Yes.
If this
I,
clarity has come to you, I would only say focus on what you want.
Yes.
And where focus goes, energy flows.
Yes.
It is 24 by 7.
Yes.
When Sushilji was saying about mediocrity, people who must look at mastery don't look at being mediocre because their focus is only on one single.
Yes.
That I that Arjun was looking at is the only focus.
Yes.
So wish you the very best, Jayesh. But the
Yes.
only thing is, stop talking about what I used to do.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Start speaking what I give now,
Yeah.
and I guarantee you.
Yeah.
So when we speak about 17-week guarantee,
Yeah.
give them something which they know there's an end date to that.
Yeah.
When you have the end date in mind, people will be coming to you in flocks.
Yes.
And when you say, this is what I offer,
Yeah.
what's the differentiator is what they're looking at.
Yeah.
So you are the differentiator because you are going to give them something which has an end date,
Yeah.
provided you are disciplined, you adhere to the rules,
Yes.
and you come on time,
Yeah.
show up and share, care, listen, and learn.
Yes.
So it's very important because that $1 million is waiting for you, provided you know
Yeah.
you can see it,
Yes.
believe in it, and achieve it.
Wonderful. 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 Well said. Everything
Harish,
is. Yeah.
Harish, one question for you.
Yes.
You said from where you want is a journey between, it's a gap between where you are and where you want to be.
Yeah.
In my own experience, and that is what I guarantee my clients, that I want to know where you are and where you want to be, and I am sure to make you where you are to where you want to be, but I'll make you go to where you can be, and your can be is always higher than where you want to be.
Yes.
Therefore, even knowing what I want to is a part of the journey. It is
Yeah.
not the end of the journey. And that is something which any trainer, coach must keep in mind,
Yeah.
that you don't, if you just make your client reach where he wants to be, you have
Yes.
done half the job.
Yes.
Sir, provided he accepts it that he wants to be.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
When you change his mindset, you change
Yes.
his habits, he
Yes.
starts moving towards that. Otherwise, he's
Yes.
still stuck on that.
Yeah.
Exactly. So I'm
So
Exactly.
you
saying,
have to hold his hand and
Yeah.
take him on the journey. And
so
when he realizes that he wanted to be there, he sees the bigger picture.
Yes.
so I am what we are both saying is the same
Same
thing.
thing. Yes.
With only the difference that I say don't stop at only. So right in the beginning, I tell people, I will make sure you please tell me where you want to be. Are you
Yeah.
clear about that? If you're
Yeah.
not clear, I'll help you make clear on that.
Yes.
But
Yes.
once you do that, then we will go on a journey to go beyond where you want to be.
Perfect.
Yes. Perfect.
We give them the
And
path, we give them the direction, and we hold their hand.
yeah.
And
And
we are there,
exactly.
and we are
Exactly
there for them to fall back on.
14 days ago, 40 people, and Jayesh was one of those 40 people who decided that we will walk on fire. A few people were apprehensive, a few people did get burnt, a few got blisters, but all 40 of them decided, no, we will do this, even though I've never done this before, even though it seems stupid. Why should anybody even think of walking on fire? And 40 people actually did it because
Even
thought that they can do it.
even
I'm
if
And
I'm
they
I'm
did.
happy to
wearing
say,
a
Deepak, I'm happy to say, at my age, I'm happy to say I was the number one guy waiting for them to say go, and I went the moment they said go.
Hats off to
You
you,
know,
Eric.
and
Hats
I
off
must
to
say,
you.
hats off to
what
Jayesh. He has had in this session.
Yes.
I must congratulate him for putting out thoughts and issues which has
Yes.
got everybody in this team just wanting to contribute, and they have
Yes.
contributed very well,
Yes.
including
And
Harish
I have
Sam
got
and
an idea
Jay
today.
Saab.
Yeah.
But
Eric,
I just want to make something which is counter, because
Yeah.
we are all
Yeah.
saying yes to each other. I
Yeah.
want to say something contrary to what Brigadier Basin has said.
Okay.
And he's talked about the generalization versus why are people going into this specialization and niche,
Yeah.
and his own experience. But I would say that arrives out of Brigadier Basin's journey. Now, when somebody starts in the army or the navy or anywhere, they start from a very small specialized. He may be in the ammunitions. He may be somewhere in
Yes.
the other. As he rises up, as
Yeah.
Brigadier Basin has done, he
Yeah.
has to know more and more about less and less, and less about, rather, he has to go at a higher level where he cannot be stuck in a small minutiae, and he has
Yeah.
to look at the bigger and bigger and bigger picture. So ultimately, what Brigadier Basin says makes a lot of sense
Yeah.
from where he has reached as his point in life right now.
Yeah.
He has come to that top level where he needs to be the generalist.
Yes.
But I would go and say, from my experience consulting with people and all that, with somebody who's starting off,
Yeah.
you need to do this micro thing, as Jayesh pointed out to the dentist. Find out, is that alignment the thing that once pain
Yes.
point, as Deepak says, it's all about the pain points that
Yeah.
people are willing to pay for.
Yeah.
They don't want the generalized how to, look after your teeth thing. They want this specialized thing. My teeth are misaligned. I put this
Yeah.
new cap or whatever it might be. And that is what Jayesh is talking about. And that is at the entry level, you need to look at, especially when there's a big opportunity which has not been fed. If you do the homework, which
Yeah.
Harish Bhai is talking about, you have to do the homework to find out, like you said, more and more about
Yeah.
exactly what is it that your market is feeling the pain
Yes.
point at. I'll give an
Yes.
example. There was no category of sports shoes. There were shoes and shoes and shoes. There were broad categories of adult shoes and kid shoes.
Yes.
And then people like Nike said, we will follow the top athletes
Yeah.
and create shoes specifically for the sports people.
Yeah.
That was not a generalist thing, going into one country and say they're all barefoot. So that's very evident. That is such
Yeah.
an obvious thing that, okay,
Yeah.
let's exploit an evident market.
Yeah.
But this market was not evident. They
Yeah.
did the homework. They said, where these people go, the rest of the shoes will follow.
Yeah.
Because these are specialized shoes. You need to have that spring. You need to have
Yes.
aerodynamics practically of
Yeah.
that shoe. And you need to have the air coming in through different layers, etc.
Yeah.
When they did that, they were able to capitalize, because they went to the Michael Jordans of the world. Now there is a Michael Jordan shoe which no one could have considered. There will be a basketball guy who having a shoe named
Yeah.
after him, and it is selling in the millions.
Yeah.
And all the other generous shoes, even Bata, have faded in compared to Nike and Adidas.
Yes.
Am I making
Yes.
my point? I hope I am.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
there is a
That's it.
very essential need in the
Yeah.
beginning to understand your market, and it will determine whether there is a scope for micro niche or not. And then
Yeah.
you follow that, and you're good luck to you.
Yeah. Yes,
Okay,
Brigadier.
okay.
Sir.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, Eric, I agree with you. What you have said is right, and I will make this distinction next time that yes, you start with a niche,
Yeah.
but also there don't get stuck to it, because I've just had one mentor whose a mentee whose need was totally like she was working on something, and when I got talking to her, she's changed her niche, and now she's doing extremely well in the new niche that we discovered together.
Yeah.
So there also don't be rigid in your thinking,
Yeah.
be open. Okay,
Yes.
that's one. And Eric, I have got a very serious objection in your saying this again and again. At my age, Bloody that day when you were standing there for the firewalk, you were the youngest guy. What the hell do you say your age?
Okay,
When he
let
said
me
my age,
respond. Let me
he's referring
respond
to
to
the
that.
number of gray
No,
hair
no,
he
no,
has
no,
on his
no.
head.
You and I, Brigadier Saab, you were the person who organized that guy, what is his name, Munna or somebody, to do the firework.
Yeah.
So I would say if we thought we were young and stuff to do it, the guy who organized it is obviously way ahead of us in youth and ability to do that. So all salams to you, Brigadier. I hope you understand in the
No,
spirit.
no, no,
that
no.
was talking about,
I don't agree that your
Yeah,
age.
we are way past our normal time on a Sunday afternoon. It is 1:40.
Right.
Let me take this opportunity to first of all, thank everyone who has joined in, who has
Right.
stayed till beyond the time we have scheduled for sharing all their knowledge, expertise, their points. Yes, this, that, why not me too? And Jayesh, who
Yeah.
actually initiated this topic. When I
Right.
first heard or read that creative which talked about this, well, what is this? I mean, is this really a topic, on which we can have a Sunday talk show? And lo and behold, it's a topic which
I think the
everybody is
time show is
interested
little
in.
lesser. Yeah, I think I would request Bloom if you can actually have one more format, which is a
Oh,
debate.
yes,
Probably, I think the topic could be decided, and the finest
definitely.
minds could actually come up with a
Panel
solution.
discussion. Yeah.
It is already under consideration, Jayesh. Just going ahead slowly. One of the Sunday Bloom Talk Show every month will be an open discussion like this, probably in a cafe or in a restaurant or in a place where all of us can gather, break their heads, share our thoughts, and say, no, this, me, this, that, this. That is what is
Right.
coming up. But once again, last word to you, Jayesh, before I
Thank
thank you
you.
for taking time out, even thinking about this as a topic, and then
Yep.
everybody joining in. Jayesh, over to you. Last words.
So my last words before I do, I at least got an idea that now if I have a client who doesn't know where he wants to go, I know whom I'd have to refer to. I have to refer to Mr. Harish.
Yeah.
And as I sum up, I would say that if you're starting out a business, there is an option available. An option is that you can also utilize your knowledge, your skills, and
Yeah.
your zone of genius to carve out an
Yes.
entrepreneurship world.
Yes.
Please do have a look at this option before you just start jumping into what everybody is been hyping about, is putting up your own manufacturing unit or putting up your own things.
Yeah.
There is a business exists in 21st century.
Yeah.
Explore that and then move into the traditional side of the business.
Yes.
So that's the conclusion which I would like to definitely share with all the
Yeah.
audience here.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Jayesh. Let me take this opportunity to thank you for actually initiating the topic of this discussion, agreeing to be with us, sharing your knowledge and thoughts, your experience, and everybody else who has joined in today and has been a part of this wonderful interaction and not a discussion which has happened on the Sunday Bloom Talk Show. Thank you, everyone. Thank you. See you again next Sunday on the 253rd episode of the Sunday Bloom Talk Show. Thank you, everyone. God bless us all.
Thank you.